All right, let's kill the music. It is straight up 12. Glad to have everybody here today on the DMC Garage. DMC is obviously a token that's getting ready to launch on SWE, and the DeLorean is the brand. So with cars and garage, that's kind of how we came up with the name of this space. Um, we'll have we'll go through everything today, introduce introductions, do a little market update, talk about SWE and the things that they're doing and getting ready for launch, which they as we shared last week, it is happening in June. So I think we're 17 days somewhere. Something's going to happen. Something's going to come. Be ready for some announcements. Um, it's Friday the 13th. So, hey, able to at least get the space started. So that's a good start. Um, my name is Coach George. Uh, and obviously I coached football for a while. I've been in crypto since 2016 because 2014 didn't count. I had a company that was doing advertising and paid us in Bitcoin, and we traded it in the minute we got it. That was, mistake number one. And then, but and since 2016, mostly a Bitcoin person. But I've been through the hacks. I've been through the different cycles, the halvings, exchanges coming in and going out. I do trade, not all of my bags, but definitely, have been trading for a long time. Again, everybody, if you would please like and share the room. And I do have Arthur up as a co-host. We're also Toilet. I see Toilet in here, Toilet intern or Toilet does. They'll be a guest speaker today, so we're excited to have them come up. We'll get to them as we get on down. And if you guys, like are freaking out and have to go somewhere, let me know. Disclaimer: we're not employees of DeLorean. We're ambassadors, which means we're just trying to get out and spread the word and, get involved in the communities and things like that as we prepare for launch. This space is for entertainment and education purposes only. It's not financial advice. Crypto is a volatile industry, as we all know. So don't invest more that you can lose. Um, Again, we'll go through some of the history and things like that during the spaces. We'll try to go 1.5 to 2 hours, unless just, some big things come in, and I would definitely want to give some good time to Toilet here. And I just hope that, again, my account doesn't give us problems. Go ahead and introduce Arthur Toscano, also an ambassador who's becoming a good friend of mine, and share a little bit about your story, Arthur. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. My name is Arthur Toscano, and I'm a DeLorean Labs ambassador. And I wish I knew Coach when I was growing up, man, because I could have needed somebody like that in my life, somebody to kind of help you on all the steps. And Coach George and I have been on the phone talking sometime, and been really good to get to know him. So I became an ambassador around February, I think, is when the time capsules were launching. I've been in crypto since 2020, and just like everybody, been waiting for a real company like DeLorean Labs to come into the space. So I'm really excited about that, especially since I've been a fan of DeLoreans forever. Every video game I've played, I've always driven the DeLorean, like GTA 5, the Deluxo. Every time I do missions and stuff, I always use that car. Big fan of classical movies, Back to the Future, The Matrix. Anything that came on the shelves of Blockbuster to me is a classic. And happy early Father's Day to some of you if you guys are a father. Hopefully, you guys can spend some time and watch some classical movies this weekend. Another thing I wanted to mention is the reason I came to SUI is because SUI is different than other blockchains. I know everybody kind of gets to pick and choose and probably has their favorites, but in my opinion, I think Miston Labs and Adeni Denny must have had good intentions when he built Sui, because when you build something with good intentions and innovation, everybody just kind of follows through. Like all the developers, all the projects on that are launching on Sui, like Toilet is one of them. You know, all the people that I've met all have good intentions when building on Sui, and it trickles down to the community. Everybody on Sui seems to be kind of trying to communicate, set up some spaces, hang out, and it just kind of trickled down like a waterfall from the top of Miston Labs all the way down to the community. And it's something really different that's been missing on some of these blockchains. And before I give it back to Coach, we are going to be recording these and posting these spaces on Spotify, Amazon, and YouTube. And the reason we're going to be posting it on these places is because in 50 to 100 to 200 years from now, when people start researching how the blockchain got started, obviously they're going to see that Bitcoin launched in 2008. And then they're going to hear all the crazy stories about pizza selling for 20 Bitcoin. And then, when they find out what real company came onto Sui, what was the first crypto company that came into Sui? And it's going to be DeLorean Labs. So to me, these spaces, everything that's being posted on X, all of you guys listening, are basically part of the documentary in 50 to 100 years or 200 years from now. So when someone's in college doing some research, they stumble upon DeLorean Labs. They were the first the real company to launch on Sui. And then they're going to hopefully stumble upon these spaces that I'm posting on Spotify and, Amazon. And they get to hear some of our voices, talking about how excited we were about this project launching, and who knows what comes from that. And obviously it's a great car, and we're going to kind of cover some of those stuffs and everything that they're kind of um going to be launching here soon. um yeah, so go ahead, Coach George. I'll kind of save the rest for later.
Okay, thanks. So, I did put up a post this morning on my timeline. If you want to put that up on the chart. Oh, I'd like to do a little bit of a market update, not too much in detail. Just share some kind of things about SWE, what we've seen and that type of thing. Again, as a trader, not financial advice. Just you know, I keep I try to keep good notes and things while I'm trading. So obviously we had a dip yesterday. It's hard, when you see them. Sometimes you have to zoom out. I think yesterday was probably largely due to some of the political unrest that's going on in the world. Obviously, everybody's aware with the Israel-Iran thing, and look, news impacts markets, in my opinion, not financial advice. But we had a Fed meeting. They didn't in the U.S. this week, and they did not drop rates. So we've probably seen some reaction to that as well. Total market cap, we're at 3.25 trillion currently. And for what it's worth, I do post market cap updates since October 2024. Feel free to go through those, and it kind of talks about where we are, total market cap, news that's happened during that time, or during and a lot of times you'll see that has an impact. Sweet's currently trading at around $3, at least it was this morning, and don't forget in August it was 53 cents. So that's like 6x. Hope some of you got in then. I wasn't around yet. I'm kind of newer to the sweet chain. In April, it was around $2. And I'll say mid-April, it made a pretty good run. Bitcoin, I think, at the same time went from like 85 to 110K. And look, it hit $4 literally a month ago. So again, today with the price where it is, personal opinions, not financial advice, but we've got news-based action right here because of the conflict Israel and Iran. And so, for me personally, this is a place to buy, but that is definitely not financial advice. We don't know what's going to happen with all that. Uncertainty is when you really want to be careful. Um, you know, Prior to DMC launch, I mean, we've had, you know, tariff talks and CETUS hacks, political unrest, you name it. So, but, bottom line is SWE is number 12 on market cap for total market cap, and that's counting USDT and USDC. So really it's number 10 largest crypto in all of crypto, which is just amazing. Total market cap's 10.1 billion. Daily volume yesterday was 1.7 billion, and that's number 6 overall. 24-hour volume in all of crypto. On the charts, I don't know if Arthur pulled that up, but what I do for not financial advice again, but I keep notes because you see so much happen from notes. He does have that up there. Um, and I'm going to pull mine up as well. Apologize. It takes a second to find that. Going back from Easter, US, April, we had a really nice run. If you look at my chart, it's basically what's called a bull flag pattern, where you go up and then you have kind of a channel that comes down, and then it did break out of there, which was really nice. We had some good price action when Sweet Boot Camp was going on. Then you see we've kind of been in a little bit of a down channel here, and you see, like in my notes, Coinbase was launched on the Nasdaq. You had a pump right there. The CETUS hack happened. The price came down a little bit. Memorial Day, always consider, and this is just personal opinions again. Years ago, it seemed like more the price action was on the weekend, but now it's during the week. And just again, not financial advice. I'll say that a million times in this space, but I seem to see more action happening during the week because probably institutions and large investors are finally in the space. Let's see here. This week we broke out a little bit. There was a 21 share ETF announcement where they're trying to get an ETF there. And then obviously we had the CPI changed and the conflict. So that's just a quick rundown on, we'll call it a market update. SWE was started in May 2023. So to be number 12 after only 2 years, it's just amazing what this group has been able to do in such a short amount of time. It's just amazing, to go to 12 and sorry, somebody was trying to come in and interrupt. To happen this fast, I mean, you've got amazing team out there. You've got amazing projects out there. You've got the builders, it's builder chain, strong communities that are supporting each other. When I first came in, people let me come up and speak just immediately, and everybody's been helpful, and we're all getting along for the most part. And so many products and service. I mean, you've got data storage, Walrus, Tusky's got a lot of good things. You've got DeFi platforms, lending platforms, things like Eco with cross-chain protocol, Bitcoin liquidity coming in. That's rare. The socials, again, you've got a lot of amazing influence out there. You've got NFTs are just killing it on SWE. So, by all means, explore that. Trading view on the secondary, or pay attention to projects that are launching. Again, we've got Toilet mentioned something earlier this week on a space. SWE Play. So that came out, I think it was 2,500 available. Then boom, well, we went to 5,000, then up to, I think, 10,000 units sold. So here comes gaming, in my opinion, not financial advice. I have to say it yesterday. I noticed that Denny mentioned a thing, Real Vision, yesterday, which looks like some social type interaction and maybe points, things like that. I've got to do more research on there. That we've had Phantom Wallet integrate SWE, which is huge. To be able to use Phantom. Obviously, Slush Wallet is, in my opinion, the best wallet to use. Not everybody use what you're comfortable with. Let's see. This week, Lofi announced liquidity on Bluefin. Eco's launching any day now. So I know a lot of people are excited about that. I was unfortunately not able to get on all the early stuff, but I'll be looking for that. And, I'll be looking for the first dip. Again, do it however you want. Just pay attention to a Denny. He's kind of the main guy. These guys have come from Facebook, so they've got so much experience in real world businesses and social media marketing, all those things, and billing, obviously, with what they've done here, including the community, not just him, but definitely pay attention to his account because a lot of announcements come out there. Definitely pay attention to DeLorean Labs. I do see him in the room. So it's at DeLorean Labs. I'm sure you're going to hear a lot of announcements coming up since launch again is going to happen in June. We've got 17 days, so really pay attention to the account. Um, when they announce launch, and then they'll have a contract address. And being in crypto, many of probably see some fake coins and all of that. So please make sure and be very careful and use the right social channels or the official social channels for all that. We're not going to have a lot of time for just regular speakers today because we have, and I'm going to try to find you guys toilet dust. I think Dr. Ari and intern have done a great job. And I'm going to try to find them so I can invite them up, or if Arthur, you can get them up. Let's try to see. Because we got a lot of people in here. Oh, look at all the cool names, people. I really appreciate everybody coming in here. I don't see that. So I've done spaces a long time. Doesn't mean I'm great at it. That's for sure. See if you can find them, Arthur. If not, I'm just going to keep rocking and rolling here.
I don't think I'm allowed to pull people up.
Okay. Actually, let's see here. So if you haven't run spaces, yeah, you have to kind of run through and look for the names. Let's see here. Try that. Dead time. This is when, yeah, wish we had music or something. I would play a song, but then everybody would leave. Okay. So yeah, if you're in here, toilet, please request the mic. Or okay, supposedly they're in here, but I can't find them because there's a lot of people. Let's see here. And you guys run spaces, request the mic, and I'll see if I can get you up. Okay, Friday the 13th is out to get me. Got somebody DMing me. I'm just going to have to keep rolling here. And I apologize, guys, if you can. That kills some of the excitement for me. So I'm going to pivot here for a bit. Again, when they come up, I'm excited for them to speak. But toilet dust has been around the meme coin, as they say. You have fart coin on whatever chain it is, but they're kind of the meme that's really a lot of fun and some really smart guys behind that. I would like to do a giveaway today of a DMC time capsule. So if you'll like and retweet the space and maybe tag DMC or DeLorean Labs. So we can look afterwards and find somebody to get a time capsule out. I'm going to go into the brand history here a little bit. Double check that these haven't come up. Uh, DeLorean. Wow, started in 1975. John DeLorean started the company, and he was just a magnate in the automobile industry. He worked for GM. I think one of the main big cars that he did there was the Pontiac GTO, which was top level muscle car back in the 70s, 80s. Uh, he served our country in World War II for 3 years. So he was in college, went to the war, then came back and got his master's in engineering and then MBA. Rose in the ranks. He was some cool information. He invested in the San Diego Chargers and the New York Yankees. He was a little bit of a rebel, back then everybody was wearing the black suits, blue button downs, or whatever it was, and he was more more on the other side, I guess. So just a pioneer in spirit, and he decided to launch or start DeLorean. Went through some private equity funding, had some real big names invested in. Then the OG DM-12 was the car that he had designed, which we'll get into a little bit more of that. I'll let maybe Arthur talk about that. Um, the company did go bankrupt in 1999, and he had to liquidate assets, obviously. And pretty cool fact I found in the research I was doing. One of the things on his bankruptcy, he had to sell his 400-acre ranch, and he actually sold it to Donald Trump, which kind of blew my mind. And which was turned into a golf company, or a golf course. In 1995, Stephen Wynn bought the company, and they've been have obviously rights to the logo, parts, and have been servicing and doing things like that. They've got a factory currently in Houston. Um, with that, the movie Back to the Future came out in 1995, and I'm maybe the oldest person in the room, but this was one of my favorite movies growing up. 1985. Then they had another 1989 and 1990. The whole movie was about time travel, and so that's why I believe this is such a timeless movie. That we still haven't been able to travel in time, and the whole car was a it was one of the main parts of the whole movie, using the DeLorean with the flux capacitor to travel forward and back, 1955, 1985, believe it or not. We're almost 40 years since that movie. Michael J. Fox was one of the big actors. His birthday's this week. Christopher Lloyd, I think you guys have even probably seen a commercial. Doc Brown. The car was featured in a movie, Ready Player One, and now we're back basically, and the future is now. Their DeLorean is looking to restart production of the new Alpha 5, and I'm going to turn this thing over to Arthur so you can go in a little bit about the car, and I can look around and try to get some guests up. Thank
Yeah,
you, buddy.
if you wanna add me to co-host, that way I can help you out because I'm on my desktop, so it's a little easier to see. Been getting DMs from Toilet. They're trying to get on.
Twitter's out to get me.
But yeah, just like everybody's here, the DeLorean car has been like an icon, obviously in the past. There's only so many out there, so if you wanted to take a peek at one, you almost have to rent it. I think you can rent them on DeLorean Rentals. They have an X account. You can email them. But big fan, they're coming out with their new car coming up in the next 2 to 3 years. That's when they're going to start the production. So I think, right now they launched the marketplace obviously in advance to give you guys a chance to uh, reserve your slot. And once they begin the production in 2 to 3 years, that's when they're going to really ramp up their marketing, and these NFT slots are going to be hard to come by. So if you have a chance to grab one, I suggest you guys go ahead and pick one up at the DeLoreanMarketplace.com. You guys can make offers as well in USDC for now. Once the DMC token launches, you'll be able to either purchase the slot or the car using DMC in the future coming up. You'll also be able to stake your DeLorean Marketplace NFT, which is a build slot. You'll be able to stake it for DMC tokens as well. So if there's any delays in the project, you'll be earning some DMC in that time. So it's kind of a pretty good investment, in my opinion. Also, like you mentioned, Michael J. Fox had a birthday this week, June 9th, and then followed up by Dr. Ari, June 10th. And then his son's birthday is on June 11th. So a lot of birthdays. I know they've been busy with all the stuff they have coming up. A lot of good birthdays this past couple days. Also, Michael J. Fox has a charity that he has. So if you guys want to check that out, I'll try to pull it up real quick. Were you able to add me as a co-host, George?
No, that's not going to happen. I did send an invite to Toilet, and maybe if you see them, you can see give thumbs up or thumbs down if they saw the invite.
They messaged me saying they requested it.
This just happened a few minutes ago. So yeah, these are. I see some of my friends down there that are run these things. Space's nightmare today here. Friday the 13th is out to get me. Definitely had sent them the invite here. So if not, you're going to have to listen to me too much. And yeah, just go ahead and I'll lose about 1,000 followers. Not be a big host here. Oh gosh, wow. Yeah, it is what it is. So Toilet, if Arthur can see it, then give him a thumbs up or not that you did not see the invite request. Dead silence. So if you ever seen a man sweat, you'll see one right here. Good thing this is not on video. Well, other people are inviting to come up, but again, I'm not seeing Toilet. So I've just got to move forward, or we've just got to move forward unless you see anything here. I can't get you as a co-host, Arthur. Let's see. I'll try that one more time.
Yeah, just go to co-host, and then it'll have a search bar.
I know. Oh, I know how. I just even clicked on your profile to do it. So I've done this hundreds of times. Uh, anyway, I am going to keep moving, and hopefully, it may be a disappointment that we can't do that. But let's see here. You went over the car a little bit. The DMC 12, obviously, the Alpha 5's coming out. That's just if you go on DeLorean website, main website, you'll see some of the renderings of the car. Absolutely gorgeous. It's an electric EVM vehicle that's going to be made. It's going to have the gull-wing doors, just like the OG DMC 12, 0 to 60 in 2.99 seconds. So I think they'll get up and go. They've got future concepts on the website. If you can share that up, then that would be nice. Uh, just so ahead of the curve, in my opinion, on design and those type of things. So it's scheduled for production in the next 2 or 3 years. They decided DMC or DeLorean decided
Hey,
to go
coach.
on chain.
Coach, sorry to
Yes, go
interrupt you.
ahead, bud.
We got Evan Cun up here. Evan, you want to come up?
Oh, good. Thank goodness.
Yeah. Hey
It,
guys, thank you for having me. Great to be back.
Glad to have you today, bro. And the room is yours. So take it and run with it. Glad you're here and tell everybody who you are. Obviously, president of DeLorean Labs. So we're just blessed to have you here. And you rock and roll, bro.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, I'm Evan Kuhn, president of DeLorean Labs. Really excited to represent such an incredible brand. Been around for over 50 years at this point, and still surviving, has some of the most incredible IP, and everywhere from collectibles, movies, and of course the classic DMC car. And then very excited to be bringing such an iconic brand into Web3 and being one of the first really big traditional brands to jump into Web3 in such a big way. And we're not just dipping our toes in here. We are going deep. We've already come out with the DeLorean time capsule, the NFT collection on Sui. And then, of course, we have the long awaited DMC token coming out very soon. Just want to thank everyone for being patient with us. It's almost as if we had a time machine to dodge a lot of those big earthquakes and major events that have been rocking the market over the last couple of months and quite recently this week. But very, very soon, this token is going to be coming out. So very, very excited for that. And as I'm here, happy to talk with the community, hear from people in the spaces, answer questions, and keep this conversation going. So
Okay. So, yeah,
yeah.
Evan, you know, again, how did you get into DeLorean Labs? I know you said you're a marketing guy and car lover, where we talked about that last week. He posted some of his favorite cars. I told you I had a grandmama's Ford LTD, so you killed me on that. It is what it is. But yeah, how did you get in with the DeLorean Labs
Yeah, so
uh,
it really
project?
all started, with my background in the crypto brokerage exchange space. So, as you know, co-founder of a company called Coinberry in Canada, became Canada's first regulated crypto brokerage, then merged and had an exit to an exchange. Became one of Canada's biggest based exchanges. The company is called WonderFi, which has now been acquired by Robinhood. Around the time that I left the day-to-day operations of that business, was consulting for various crypto projects. DeLorean ended up becoming a client and loved the opportunity and the team and the vision and the chance to do something really, really special in the crypto space, really be trailblazers and come up with some leading edge technology. And everything from, if you checked out the marketplace at marketplace.delorean.com, such a new revolutionary way of selling vehicles, where you get your deposit build slot as an NFT. So that way, any time up until the car coming out, you can sell that or buy a better spot in line. So just everything about this brand, and also just the opportunities afforded to DeLorean really made me excited to jump in and be part of this project.
And Evan, do you know some of the tech that's coming out on the car? I know they have some pretty cool features. I know there's a couple videos on YouTube, but is there more details on that tech? Because the videos I've seen, man, no other car has that kind of stuff on it.
Yep. So when it comes to the tech, we probably at this stage have a lot more ideas than what will actually make it in to the version one of the car. But so there's not too much I can talk about at the moment. And that's also a bit more of a question for the motor company side on all the details, but very high level. We are looking to put crypto wallets in every vehicle so that you'll be able to earn the DMC token for driving safely and for, you know, kind of even just if you're driving around in the vehicle in certain areas, you're essentially advertising the car, why not earn token for that? And I think that's just the tip of the iceberg of what's going to be possible. Like, eventually I'd love to see that you pull over and park the vehicle and then your wallet in your car starts paying for your parking without you having to even do anything, or you're going through a drive-through and then that wallet can interface with that business and handle the transaction for you. And you'd be able to earn points from those businesses, or once those businesses have their native tokens, that'll be able to interface with it. So really it's once we build this, and it's almost like creating the rails in a way for all these other businesses to then come on and come up with all sorts of cool things and ways to interact with the car in the crypto wallet there.
That's insane. Wow. I mean, it's come so far, and just, as expected when I heard you guys, DeLorean was going to come out with a car. I knew there's going to be some high tech stuff, and there you go. Excuse me, you brought it. It's also, for me personally, just to know that a president of a token that from a real world company coming into crypto has experience in crypto. So you've probably been through a bull and a bear and all kind of ups and downs through yours.
Yep.
So I think it means a lot. I think for us as investors to know that it's not only just a company coming into a blockchain without any experience in it, but being through the ups and downs and the craziness in it. I'm sure they've leaned on you a lot as far as
Yep.
from an advisement standpoint.
Yep. Yeah. This company is made up of people that really believe in this technology and really believe in where this industry is going, and the long term future of Web3. And I think just so important that I get to work with these like minded people and really, yeah, continue the journey that I've been on for the last 8 years in this industry. And, you know, we're kind of building the future that we all envision.
Yeah, and I think, I haven't bought a car from a dealership probably in at least 4 years. The last two cars that I own right now, I bought them both online without even looking at the car. And I think in the future, that's what it's going to come down to. Because then you're going to have all the maintenance logs and everything. So it's going to make it easier for car companies to be like, it has the miles I want, it's at the price I want, all the service records. And like you said, you can earn DMC. So as you're driving the car around, you're basically paying for its maintenance at least. Um,
Mhm.
so I think
Yep.
that's,
And I think what's always cool is you'll always know the value of what someone's willing to pay for your car too, because you'll have almost a unique floor price on each vehicle, which is going to be so cool to see too.
So we're all excited about this. I mean, this is just a great opportunity. And look, the brand, gosh, for what, 50 years and 40 years since the movie, to have a brand like this, just, I mean, everybody in crypto and people who aren't in crypto, um, I feel like, there's a chance that you guys can maybe onboard people. I know on the marketplace, there's a way to actually create a wallet and add and pay with credit card, debit card, Apple Pay, Google Pay, and those kind of things. So look forward to that. I don't know if you could share any information, obviously not numbers, but have you had anybody come in from the marketplace and create wallets and join crypto.
Yeah, quite a few people. Yeah, I find every time I'm out at a conference or an event, I have someone coming up to me and saying, DeLorean got me into Web3, and I'm new to this space because of you guys. And the technology that Sui has created has made it so easy to get in, especially if you're setting up a wallet in the Sui ecosystem, so much easier than how it used to be on other chains back in the day, and then interacting with the dexes and everything else, claiming NFTs, so much easier too. Almost instant transactions, really low fees. So we really see Sui as the future of blockchains, and that's really why we've partnered and decided to build with them. And yeah, make it as easy as possible for that next cohort of users into the Web3 ecosystem.
Awesome. Yeah, that's, I think back, a couple of years ago, gosh, you had gas fees, $1,000, $500, and I haven't seen anything like that over here, and don't expect it. So that's just some of the advancements in technology that we're
Yep.
seeing on
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yep. And at the time when the gas fees were that expensive, sometimes you couldn't even get transactions to go through. You would want to be able to pay those gas fees to get but you'd just be stuck hitting refresh, and just be so frustrating.
No, I did that. You try to tweak the wallet to try to pay cheaper gas and be like, I don't need it that fast. So you tweak the wallet and then your transaction doesn't go through, but you lost like $50 just trying to do that.
Yep. Yep. Or if, like, transaction is in some sort of suspended state and you don't know what's going to happen or how it's going to resolve.
Been through that. Yeah, do the Bitcoin buy, and you got to wait 30 minutes or an hour or what have you. You're wondering, what in the world did my money disappear? So, yeah, I think we've all been through things like that. Um, as far as alpha, I mean, I hate to ask, I'm not going to put you on the line here today, but is there any alpha? And let me go back first too, back to the real world brand. You guys were in Las Vegas, obviously, and at Bitcoin Las Vegas, and the DMC was like, supposedly, I wasn't there, in the middle of the room. I mean, were people like flocking to it and taking pictures and all of that, just showing the brand once again steals the show, so to speak?
So yeah, that was at the consensus floor. And yeah, we had the DeLorean there right in the middle, and yeah, it was just so great to see everyone coming up, taking photos with the vehicle. And I think it also helped that we were giving away merch there as well. So each day of the conference, we had a kind of a select time throughout the day where we would give away merch, and it would go quick. We'd have lineups, and within about 10-15 minutes, it would all be snatched up. So yeah, great to see all that enthusiasm. And yeah, I think there was also I tweeted about this a few weeks ago. There was another booth there that actually created a vintage blockbuster. So it was called Blockchain Video, and they created membership cards that looked exactly like the Blockbuster membership. And then they had all sorts of, they had like Bitcoin to the future with the Back to the Future style video cases, and all sorts of retro movies in there. And it was just a really cool blast from the past. And having the DeLorean time machine out on the conference floor with that, I think it was almost the combination of the two made it feel very special. And I think you had another part of that question was on alpha. And so, yeah, one thing that we have mentioned with the token coming out, talked about airdrops in the past. I think there's, it's out there that we are doing airdrops. And we see airdrops as a very important way to grow the community. But we're looking to do it a little bit differently. In the past, I've received airdrops, and just kind of ends up almost being like dust in various wallets because you don't know what this means or what it does or how you can use it. So we're actually doing airdrop slightly differently. We're going to be gamifying this, and we're looking to do a huge spaces next week where we're going to go into detail about how our airdrop is going to work and how you can maximize what you get out of the airdrop as well. And we're planning on having one of the biggest spaces that the SUI ecosystem has ever seen, with a lot of special guests. And it's going to be one that you don't want to miss. So stay tuned for when we set the exact date and time for that. But I'm very excited to be taking part in it and sharing all the details of the airdrop then as well.
Awesome. That is Alpha. Huge space. And you said some other projects, and I'm sure some big people will come in instead of little old Coach George. But those type of things. And I'll probably, again, with it being so close to launch, and these airdrops have been a really huge thing. In
Being here and listening, and just stay tuned for when we're going to have that spaces next week on the airdrop. We'll give a date and exact time for that very shortly. So I'm off for now, but thank you guys.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Evan. And look, everybody in this room, I don't know how many people are here, but I'm sure it's several hundred. I think we had 27,000 views on the last one. Follow Evan, follow DeLorean Labs. And, and I'll add Toilet Dust because they're up here today and we're going to get into their project. Evan, again, thank you for coming, and look forward to that mega space next week and everything that's coming.
I think we lost Toilet. Oh, he's back.
Hey guys, sorry, it kicked me out. I'm back.
All right, intern, you're up, bro. Real excited with what you guys have done and are doing. It's summertime, so I'm sure you've got some stuff maybe you can talk about a little bit today. I was on a space the other day, but by all means, you could share with the room some of the things that you guys have done, why you're at SWE, why you did a meme, why you're doing the things that you're getting ready to do, and any alpha you can bring. Look forward to hearing, guys. And for what it's worth, I've been on many spaces, and memes fun, and we're all having fun and cutting up and laughing about toilets. You can make a million jokes about that, but you and Dr. Ari are just really smart people, and so the spaces aren't just all cutting up and cracking up, but you're learning, true, just really smart people. So say hey and
Uh,
tell me what's up.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us. It's funny. I always say I'm like the last person that someone would probably ever think would be behind a project like this. But I think once you kind of hear the story, it makes sense why Toilet has done well and has kind of formed a really great community. But my background is actually over about like 23 years in sales, building teams and building communities. And I started in direct sales when I was 12 years old, due to my father leaving our family, and kind of had no choice but to grow up pretty fast and find a way to make money. And I failed pretty hard from like 12 to 19. And that was like my learning curve. Maybe some of you can relate, where I would essentially tell my mom or my sister or my close friends that I was doing something. And when you're 12 years old, talking to other 12, 13, 14 year olds that you're starting an eBay business or what have you, essentially they're like, you're crazy, you're supposed to be outside, probably playing, kicking the ball. But I was kind of a different circumstance. And so my failure from 12 to 19 in that industry of direct sales taught me how to build relationships. I actually read a book in that period called How to Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty. And the premise of that book is, if you spend some time every single day building relationships with people and following up with them, and seeing how you can serve them without any expectation of anything in return, your well will never be dry. And to put that into a monetary perspective, you'll never really need to worry about money, or creating financial health, just because you'll become one of the most well networked, respected people for having done good for others. And so learning how to build relationships, and community, it wasn't overnight. It was many years of failure, but by 19 I built a community of about 40,000 young people across multiple countries. And that was kind of my first moment of, okay, maybe that's how life works, is you gotta fail your way forward. And that's part of your tuition. And for me, I went to college, but I ended up dropping out twice, which was to my mother's demise. But um, that was kind of my period of my 10,000 hours, and eventually started to kind of figure things out as I went into my early 20s. But I share all that to say that at 35 now, uh, Toilet is kind of a culmination of both Dr. Ari's experiences in his life. He's co-wrote a book with Jack Canfield, who, outside of maybe like a religious book like the Bible, I think Chicken Soup for the Soul is the best-selling book of all time. Maybe someone can use Grok and correct me if I'm wrong. But he's done many things outside of just even his incredible career as a doctor. And so back in November of 2024, I had the idea of Toilet and actually just made the X account. But both of us are not really in a place of needing to do something like this out of a place of scarcity or need for money. And so we basically sat on it, no pun intended, from November to March of this year. And we had many discussions of where it made sense to launch this, if we were ever going to actually do this, and if we were going to do it, that we were not going to look back and actually dedicate everything to do this and build community. And so we effectively launched on March 21st. And Sui, at the time, there was a lot of people that basically said, I wouldn't do this, I wouldn't launch. There's only a few memes currently that have ever crossed 10 million market cap. The volume's low, and mind you, this is before the Phantom wallet integration, right? Before you start to see progression with Sui. And I'm just a firm believer of striking at the right time. And for me, the right time is not when everyone believes something to be true. The right time is when a lot of people don't believe something to be true or valid, and you ultimately start. And that's what we did. And Adeni, co-founder of Miston Labs, he tweeted, at us. I don't know how he was awake. I'm pretty sure he's U.S. based. I know Miston is out of San Francisco or Palo Alto, but at about midnight, because I think we launched at like 11 p.m. And the funny thing is, we sat at like 10,000 market cap on Move Pump. And I forget which project was like King of the Sea or whatever, King of the Hill, whatever they call it on Move Pump. But next thing you know, Adeni, tweets, "Take all my money." And I think it turned many heads as to like, what is this? Is he supporting this? Is he not supporting this? Why did he do this? Because it's kind of out of character for him to do that, as far as I've seen since we've launched. And so it kind of gave us momentum, but it also put us in a position where um, we had to prove ourselves, because you can talk in crypto and say a whole bunch of stuff, but in the meme sector, there's a lack of transparency and trust. Where I'm sure you guys know from maybe holding some memes, you're not really sure if you can hold more than a few minutes to hours to maybe even days. And so there were some people that didn't know us, and because of that, weren't really fond of the project. Not just like Ari and I, because they didn't know us. But I called Ari immediately, and I was like, "There's nothing we can say that's going to make people respect us or trust us. Like, the only thing we can do is just be here in 90 days, be here 6 months from now, and eventually, those people will, they don't even have to like us, but they'll respect us for the work ethic and the community that we build day in and day out." And that started to happen like 2 months in. And so if any of you are here with a project or starting a project, It's part of the process, right? Where you have people that are maybe supporting you from the beginning, but they may sell off and leave the community pretty early and kind of miss out as you progress, and they may be upset that they they sold too quick. Like it's all part of the process, right? No matter kind of what token, in my opinion, and it just kind of plays itself out. But we kind of have like an open door policy in our community where I always say it's not a prison, right? Like do the best for yourself. We had one person sell the token pretty early because he got in early and was able to take care of his family, his kids' education, and these are probably things you don't hear typically a project say. Um, you probably don't hear people saying someone sold and did this and say it in a positive way. But when you hear a story like that, for me, when I hear a story like that, our efforts were able to do that, and for him to take care of his family, you know what I mean? It's like at the end of the day, I think hopefully it's apparent to everyone on Sui now that we're here to do right by people, by our community, and again, it's not a prison. It's like we love and respect everyone, regardless if they're in our community or not, if they come in, if they leave, and I think building it that way ultimately will build a strong community, right? Versus kind of having a scarcity mentality or being upset if someone leaves, someone sells. We just kind of don't operate that way. um, and then I kind of go in real quick, if you don't mind, with kind of where we're at now. Is that all right, Coach?
Most definitely. Yeah, keep rolling, bro. I will say
Uh,
this though, and you're going to probably DM me later. You jerk. Um, I've been able to trade some pretty good channels there, so I have bought it and sold it and bought it back, but I am a holder. Not financial
no, man,
advice. Don't cuss me out, bro. Go ahead. And I think
no,
go ahead.
no, it's great. I mean, like that's what I'm kind of saying. There's every single type of person that will be a part of your journey. There's going to be traders. There's going to be people that come in big and leave a week later. They may stay for a year. Like it's all healthy, right? Like I think if you just want one type of person to be in your community, you're kind of doing yourself wrong. And that's actually what I learned in my previous career. I used to just build like teams in the United States, and then what I learned is like typically internationally, Europe, Asia, like Philippines, Japan, like just Japan alone made me successful with my direct sales career, and the work ethic and the respect of people in Japan and how they treat showing up every day and their work ethic is unbelievable. And so that was kind of the beginning for me of understanding that if you want to build a movement, you can't just stick to like one area, one person, one type of individual, and you got to go after like every demographic, multiple countries. And I got to just give Dr. Ari a nod for that. I think as we're speaking right now, we actually Ari set up a yacht party in Subic Bay, Philippines, for Toilet, which is being run by a guy on X. I think his name is Wind Sui. Some of you, I'm sure, have seen him. He's I think a pretty big, I don't know if you call it KOL marketer in the Philippines for Sui. But it's like everyone's kind of wearing white, and there's a DJ, there's a buffet, and we're not there. But Ari set that up, and he continues to do things like that across different countries, because even though maybe in the moment it may not have a dramatic effect on the brand for Toilet, eventually. What I've been saying the past couple weeks is, we're building slow and steady, and then all at once, there's going to be a moment, in my opinion, it's not financial advice, that all the seeds that have been planted will sprout. And it's just kind of what I did in my previous career. You just kind of build and build and build, and eventually a movement kind of arises, and people buy into your vision. And so, speaking of that, after about a month and a half and seeing our community come together, I called Ari and I said, this is turning out to be something special, and I kind of have this idea of how we can take this into a global brand, and more importantly, like do it for our community and also do it for Sui. because I'm a firm believer that whoever can bring the influx of people from Ethereum base, BNB, Solana to Sui is going to help the entire ecosystem. And so, initially, before we had any attention or awareness, in March, it was very much of like, okay, how do we get in front of people on Sui? But then once we effectively did that, then it was like, okay, how do we help Sui now? Because if we do that, all these other projects, not just ourselves, are going to succeed. And if no one is doing that actively or on the community side, right? I'm sure Sui, they had the Phantom Wallet integration and so many other things they do on their side. But I feel like the community, and I feel like we have a responsibility to help them do the same thing on our side. And so I spent a few weeks with Ari. We interviewed a lot of design teams, and we ended up meeting an amazing couple out of Florida who has created some pretty prominent collections, NFT collections on OpenSea and Ethereum. And the first thing they said is, with your vision and us basically hand drawing the traits, if this is going to be over 130 to 150 traits, this is going to take about 3 months. And this is when like Doonies, I think, launched, and Sui started to have a lot of momentum with NFTs. And when you hear 3 months in crypto, it feels like an eternity. But at the same time, if you shortcut any process in this space, you typically won't be around that long. And so we agreed to a 3 month timeline, which is kind of coming to fruition starting this upcoming Monday. And the mint will be in July, likely the first or second week of July. And so they basically started building the brand. And Monday, this upcoming Monday, will actually reveal the X account and the website for the brand. And so it's a pretty exciting time. So much has gone into this. I said on our last space, there's always a time and place to be 88 miles an hour, and put your foot down on the pedal. But over the last like 3-4 weeks, even myself, I've kind of taken my foot off a little bit when it comes to like being as active as I've been on social media to really build this behind the scenes, because the best way I can put this is if you focus on building a product and do it the right way, the marketplace will receive what you've done, and you almost don't need to really even talk about it in the sense of kind of pitching yourself and what you've done. I think it just becomes apparent to the community that you hired the right people, you took the time, you invested a lot of resources, money behind it, and I think that's what will be picked up by the Sui community once they kind of see this unfold on the 16th. And if I had to give you guys some alpha, basically starting the 16th on that X account that will go live, from the 16th to the 22nd, you're going to see a story unfold, both with video and images, basically leading up to you guys meeting our PFP for the first time on June 22nd. So on June 22nd, it'll be a video dropped where everyone will see the PFP for the first time. And interestingly enough, we're here with DeLorean, and we have a one-of-one PFP that we've created, from our side, and also incorporating DeLorean Labs. And so, once I speak to the DeLorean team, I'm sure maybe you guys will see that on the timeline, and we'll definitely whitelist the DeLorean community. And so, and also I gotta say that's important to us because I think if you just whitelist anybody and everybody, whitelisting the proper communities also is like a part of the health of your own project. And so, there's kind of a line of like not wanting to exclude anyone, but there's also a line of understanding which communities really value community, right? And DeLorean, I got to say real quick, Arthur, Dream, Coach, initially we kind of like started this relationship with Arthur making these images of like our toilet seat in a DeLorean car, and he started making these pictures and we started sharing them. And I don't know, it might be a little too much to say we fell in love with DeLorean, but that's kind of what happened. And our community equally, felt the same. They started retweeting all these images that DeLorean and the community and Arthur was creating. And then Dream was so kind that at, I think it was the consensus event, you guys made an actual figure of Dr. Ari, an intern, I think it was like a clay molded figure. And it was at consensus, and it was the funniest thing of just us on a toilet. And we just see things like that, relationships that we've formed with you guys. And that's why I say, like, what we're doing with Toilet is incredible. But if one project succeeds and the rest don't in this ecosystem, Sui doesn't succeed. And so all these relationships are so important to us, because in our community, like, we're very much a fan of telling people to diversify and get to know other communities. And we hope that our community continues to do that, right? And support DeLorean. And I know so much is coming for you guys with a token. And just hearing Evan talk about the fact that you'll be able to earn DMC while you drive. I think Ari, who's here listening right now, he may drive from New York to California at this rate. So we're excited, but the last thing I'll say is just grateful to be here for the opportunity, and hopefully you guys are able to join us on the 16th. I think it'll be a great space, and Tradeport has partnered with us. They've been extremely nice to us, a lot of time dedicated, just like you guys in DeLorean has for us, and so Tradeport will be on that space as well, sharing some alpha. They wanted me to share it, but I wanted them to share it. So they'll be sharing some really unique things Monday night. But Coach, Arthur, Dream, I don't know who's behind the DeLorean Labs account, if it's Dream or someone, but just meeting all of you guys has really given us a lot of belief in SUI itself, for what you guys have done in your community. So thanks so much for having me.
Great stuff there, bro. Uh, Look, I've personally had started or run 5 businesses in my life. 3 were very successful and 2 were not. Generally an entrepreneur, they say it takes 3 years to build a business. For what you guys have done in just a few months is unbelievable. So that speaks a lot. Um, and look, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur at some time in your life, and always when I teach people about this, if you're running around in life and you say, I wish I had so and so, well, that might be an opportunity to start a business. But definitely you want to do business planning. Obviously, you guys put a lot of planning into this. And you've got to be ready to pivot. You talked about pivoting in your first business. You're going to hit your hurdles and your speed bumps, which happened to you when you were 12 or 15. I was running around playing sports and shooting BB guns in those years, so you got a little bit of head start there. Uh, Images, you mentioned you saw some of Arthur's images, and I was just, while you were talking, I was able to go through the comments and some of the amazing art that some of the people in here have posted. Not just ambassadors, just people in crypto in general. I mean, I can't draw anything. I did an NFT project. I drew a stick chicken basically, and everybody laughed about it, and ended up being like an OG in the collection. It just kind of blew my mind. But there's some amazing artists out here, and just it's a wonderful community, or wonderful community. I do have a question for you. Generally, you see NFT projects launch, and we'll call it to raise capital for a business plan or a roadmap, and then they go to a token. You guys are doing it different. You come in with a token and you're going to an NFT. uh, Explain, was that a long-term thing, or is it just we've had success and let's go the branding route, which you were talking about? And then the next part of that, and you don't have to talk about this because you've got spaces coming up here, but can I assume that there's going to be some type of utility attached to your NFT project?
Yeah, it's a good question. Definitely, I can share. Um, when it comes to the the brand, it was kind of for a few reasons. One, we believe that it will contribute greatly to the attention and awareness and the longevity of the token. Um, you know, I can say that much, and then you guys will see it unfold and how it unfolds. Um, building anything outside of a project like Toilet with a token um, is obviously taking on a lot more work. Some of you might have heard me talk about when I spoke to Van, and he had a space, Doonies, and someone said like, I have a really good idea for you, and he's like, what's that? And the guy said, you guys should make a token, and he kind of gave his reasonings, and Van basically was like, there is so much less drama just being behind an NFT project versus a meme token or a token in general. Just because like a lot of people talk about price, and if it goes up, you're a hero. If it goes down, you're maybe not a hero anymore. Um, and and he kind of explained why he enjoys building the NFT side without a token. And for that and just being true to himself, I respect so much, right? Because when you're in a position like Dooney's, you can essentially, choose to stay true to yourself and why you want to just remain as is. Or you can become a greedy individual and say, you know what, like I can monetize my community, right? And so for us, we obviously started as a token, and the thought of the brand really in the beginning wasn't so much of even the NFT. It was more so initially when I had the idea was, how do you take our current existing community and brand and and take it to the next level where people in crypto know about this, because if we and when we do that successfully, where people hear about what happens on the 16 22nd, and then when we're on Times Square on the billboard for the kickoff of NFT NYC, um, we believe this will be heard in all of crypto, and because of that, it'll be an influx to the token, to the community, to all of Sui. And so, that was kind of one thing. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, if we would launch Toilet 90 days ago on Solana, there's a good chance that maybe we're at like an extremely higher market cap. And a lot of people have asked me recently, like, why didn't we do that? Because we have connections to a lot of people there, and it could have been probably the meta on Solana. But if you have heard us speak about how we do things and why we do things, we decided to come to Sui because we believe in the longevity of this blockchain and these founders and the community, right? And so making that decision was very much like, we understand that the adoption for Sui might have not been in our first month, 2 months, 3 months. It may be in 6 months, but we're not really worried about that. We're worried about doing the activity to help Sui, right? Like doing the activity for our own brand, our own community, but also like again, like I said earlier, we can do things to help Sui, and there's no point to just think about ourselves and then be one of a few standing, and then we call DeLorean calls us, and we're like, okay, how do we bring people here, right? And so that's kind of the first answer. The second is we would have not done this unless we had a mechanism to support and grow the token. And I think that's probably the biggest question people have, which I'd understand too if I was, a holder. Is that in plan? Is that going to, be a thing? And because we're under an NDA, I can't share it until it's revealed. But that's basically the main reason why we did this is the token without giving any financial advice.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, intern, I think you're rugging a little bit.
Yeah, I got rugged totally. I actually was like freaking out and recreated a new space and the whole 9 yards. So I just missed that. I'll have to come back on the recording. So Arthur, you take over here. For a
Hey,
sec.
intern, if you can hear me, we can't hear you. Yeah, I think he's rugging right now.
Well, again, I got booted there, so uh, at least you're able to come up and speak. Um, Maybe you could recap a little bit, or we could do that later. But yeah, Friday the 13th, I guess Elon said, hey, we're going to kick Coach George out. We're going to let him not do co host and all that stuff and let him sweat a little bit today. But if Toilet can't,
All right.
oh, he's back.
How are we now?
He's back. Yes. Good. Thank you.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks, Elon.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, yeah. Elon, he's got some work to do with X for sure and Spaces. Um, just the last thing. I don't know where I cut off. Um, Basically, because of my experience back during the pandemic, when a few friends of mine and I launched a metaverse, that experience taught me a lot about the behavior of people as collectors of NFTs. What makes a collection a blue chip project, where people have a lot of FOMO, where they don't want to sell, right? And you start to see kind of people holding, and the narrative becomes like, maybe this is like the one, right? You kind of saw it with CryptoPunks or BAYC. And I learned a lot from like watching and studying BAYC, as a NFT project, and then with Ape Token, and eventually their metaverse, and just their brand. And in the beginning, I would have never thought that we would kind of be alongside that type of roadmap. But if I had to say, like, our vision without a metaverse, is very much going down the road that BAYC went on, which a lot behind the scenes is like forming LLC trademarks, and positioning this brand properly, so we don't run into any issues moving forward as we launch this to the public. Um, but we basically see the growth of the token and the NFT, because of the mechanism that you guys will see when this kind of rolls out, both growing each other and helping one another. And I think it'll be a unique thing, because again, without doing it that way, for us, it wouldn't really make sense. But um, I think, come Monday night, I think people will realize, any questions they may have will kind of be answered on that space. So we're very much looking forward to it.
And I think what you're talking about is basically what Evan is like. You guys are really building a brand, going from a Mimi token to an actual brand and company, and probably, launching these billboards, these campaigns, and probably even some merch. I think I've heard, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's I don't think, especially meme tokens, or founders behind memes, talk about it, because I don't think you think about revenue, right? Like, if people launch a meme because they need money, that's kind of one thing. For us, from the get go, it was like, how do we operate the revenue so we can do things like in real life events, meetups, merch, and that's kind of the next phase for us, right? Which is like allocating funds from the mint and the royalties, to support both the community and things that we can do to, as Coach said, have like in real life, um, scenarios, for the community. um, and building a movement in general is not an easy task, right? Like, I had to learn, like, from 19 to like 20, when I had my first success, that if you don't become someone that casts a really big vision, then other people will buy into someone else's. It's the same thing, like for your dreams, for anything. And marketing wise, that's kind of why we decided to do this too. Is this will have a lot of people buy into the vision and the brand of where this is going, more than if we didn't do this. So, that's kind of maybe the best way I can say that.
I can see you have your salesman skills because you already got me sold. That's
No.
how, that's why I started doing all those images and stuff like that. Because once you started like commenting on my stuff and kind of, getting to me, you basically got to me. And then I'm like, then, you showed me love and I started showing you the love back. So, that's how you build relationships. And, can't wait to go to California, check, visit you. And once you start launching these campaigns and meetups, definitely going to try to make those for sure.
It'd be cool. I should have said it when Evan was here, but I know you guys have a close relationship to him. I had a conversation with the guy who basically started NFT LA. This is like maybe in our first month, and we were just not prepared at the time to even talk about doing an event. I think it's more of a mature decision, maybe in September, October, for us. But one of the first things I said with him, I said I don't want it to just be a toilet event. Like if we can do it with another community or multiple communities in Sui, then I'd prefer that. Because again, you want to help the entire ecosystem. And so, I wonder down the line, I'm sure Evan slam, but something to think about, especially when you talk about like Los Angeles and DeLorean. I just think, it's a good fit to do an event together. That'd be a pretty neat experience, I think, for everyone.
No, I agree. Especially, having more
Good
events
idea.
in the West Coast. I think like Coach said, they're in Houston also, we can basically start promoting the brand all over the country.
Yeah, when I was in direct sales, I was in a company called Modere in 2013, and they launched their brand. They had rebranded, and their event was at the Beverly Hilton, where they do a lot of you know events, galas, and I show up there and I see all these celebrities, and I'm like, what are they doing at this like MLM direct sales launch? But when you kind of do things in a big way in like LA or Hollywood or things like that, a lot of interesting, influential, affluent people show up. And when it comes to DeLorean and on our side with like some of the connections that we have in LA, amongst like the DeLorean community, the toilet community, and I've even thought about like Walrus and several other communities that maybe would want to participate. It might even be like the first SUI community event in LA in a big way. I know like SUI LA has a kind of a smaller community where they get together maybe once a month right now. But there hasn't been to my knowledge, a SUI event, maybe even in the US, unless you guys know otherwise.
Nail it. Yeah. So listen, we're getting up on 2 hours. So I mean, if there's anything else you want to share, by all means, go through it. But I'd like to try to wrap this thing up. Um, you had mentioned by the way, I wanted to give a shout out. You said the toilet figurines. That was hilarious in Toronto, and Shiba Cows created that. So he's done a lot of stuff like that. I know at E Toronto a year ago had done. So just wanted to give a quick shout out to them for pulling that out for you. It's going to be fun to see some of the stuff you guys come up with. Really excited about the NFTs. I hope I get a one-on-one. Who knows? And I guess not financial advice, but in the toilet, this is a dude rule for guys in the room. You have a urinal, you don't go to the guy right next to you. You got to skip one. Kind of a courtesy thing. So I think I'll probably have to buy 3 NFTs. That way somebody won't be right next to me. Not financial advice. Anyway, unless they're like $500 a piece, that we'll have to reconsider.
No,
Um, Go ahead.
no, I just want to say thanks again. Moments like these are amazing for both Ari, myself, the community. Seeing what DeLorean is doing. I mean, just to hear some of the things that Evan said on this space. For Ari and I, we hold the NFTs. Um, this space might have got me to want to buy more build slots as soon as I'm off of here. Because the way I see it, and this is not financial advice, but I think DeLorean will attract people that are not in Web3, that have the financial means, and that will want a car, because it's a limited collection. um, and so I see good things for both the launch when it comes out, but also the NFT itself, from that value.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Agreed. And look, 2,500. I think you said it already sold on the slots. So that's that's a collectible pretty much, and it shows you there's going to be a demand. I just funny last space. I was like, man, Evan, is there any way I can like ride shotgun just so I'll look cool for a little bit? So I'm sure with what is it, a 3 trillion billion or 1.3 trillion business, there's plenty of people in here that can or in crypto that could buy one of these. So those time slides might be not financial advice. It might be a tradable asset in itself. Um, so again, just want to thank everybody for coming. A lot coming up here. Obviously, you'd have heard a lot of alpha from Evan with DeLorean Labs. The launch is coming here in the next few weeks. So, get ready. Again, SWE is down at a pretty good level, not financial advice, but maybe not a bad time to pick it up. Do your own research and make your own decisions on that. Please continue to support the communities in the SWE ecosystem, and, wherever you are. Basically, all communities need people, basically, and people need communities. So, join spaces when you can. You can really learn a lot in spaces. I wanted to be able to bring up more speakers today, but we took time with some important stuff with a lot of alpha. So I'm sure Arthur and I'll probably try to run some spaces more in the future community, and let more people come up and speak. I apologize that I knew we were going to run short on time, as far as by having two, um, you know, good projects that are coming really soon. And it's just, this has been a great space. So thank you again to everybody that has come. Um, it means a lot to come up. I hope you've learned some things today. And again, some awesome art. So keep sharing. Share DeLorean. Talk about them. DMC, talk about toilet dust, help some of the other projects. Everybody work together. That's what I like about SWE is I've come in and it's a welcoming change. So again, you couldn't come up today, but in the future you will. Never be afraid to come up in spaces and ask questions. I always like to close out spaces, talk about security. Be careful. Don't share your private keys ever. Watch out for DMs. Um, Especially support DMs, malicious links. If something gets airdropped, double check it. Maybe create an extra wallet to do things new, so you don't get everything drained. From an investment standpoint, set your own plan. Build a strategy and try not to get too emotional about it. Stick with your strategy. You do you, of course. Don't uh, risk more than you can afford to lose, and try to diversify. So, with that being said, Arthur, you want to find somebody for the time capsule giveaway, and that'll be the last thing, and then we'll roll on. Put pressure on you there, bud. Just go through the comments,
Oh, go through the comments.
or look
Okay.
for retweets, or pick me.
Let's see.
Not really.
So yeah, while I'm looking for somebody, check out the DeLorean Marketplace at the marketplace.delorean.com. There's also time capsules on Tradeport. You guys can check out. And obviously look for the upcoming space coming from DeLorean Labs. I don't know. I don't know if they're still in the space. Give me 1 second.
I knew I put the pressure on you. I did that on purpose. I've been sweating for 2 hours. I'm going to go take a shower, but not on a space afterwards. So hey, everybody, don't forget to touch grass, right? If you sit here online all the time looking at charts and all of that, it'll just about drive you crazy. I promise you. Been doing it myself too much, and I'm trying to. Somebody said something the other day. Roll guy I was listening to, and it's like you got to enjoy life, not just be too stuck in this. Uh, anyhow,
Yeah,
you got one,
yeah.
Arthur?
Super Beats. If you're there, give a thumbs up. Super Beats. Yeah, the Superman costume on.
All right. So if you don't see him, Super Beats, if you hear this, then I'll say reach out to Arthur. There you go. Let him handle this so I can go take that shower. And if you'll reach out to Arthur and he can confirm who you are, then he'll get a wallet address and we'll try to get that that NFT capsule out. And again, I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Um, it's summertime, so get outside, go touch grass, get ready for the next couple of weeks. It sounds like we've got a lot of stuff. DMC token is launching in June. Toilet dust NFTs are launching in June. So, and SWE is down. So, not financial advice. Do your own research. But I'm going to go pick up some SWE when we get off here.
All right. Thanks, everybody. See you guys.
Peace out. Have a good weekend. Thanks again. See ya.